only be only unmute once you are allowed to speak.
Recording is on.
Thank you. Let me just start from the top. So welcome everyone. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So welcome so much to this session. So today is Global Internet Day, and the theme for today is Global Internet Day, and I welcome everyone to this session. So some of the room etiquette: one is mute your mic and only be able to speak once you're allowed to speak. Then two, we'll be collecting questions from Twitter and also from the chat section. So drop your comments, drop any question, drop anything on the chat section. Then three, we have the raise hand option, so you can use that to raise any question, and we'll be able to assist you once that time comes. Then we're having the Q&A section where the audience, the guest, our esteemed guest, you'll be given a chance to ask any question, the panelists and our guest. So thank you so much and feel most welcome. So just to start, so today is the 29th of October 2021. So we join the world and most so the digital community in commemorating the Global Internet Day. So the day was designated by a recommendation by the World Summit on the Information Society, which was held in 2005 in Tunisia, to the United Nations as the Worldwide Day Worldwide Day of the Information Society, which related to the Today Internet Day. So the day shed some light on the first message which was sent from one community to another in the US on the 29th October 1969 by a lady known by Charlie Klein. So Charlie Klein was a student, was a programming student at the University of California, Los Angeles, who was able to send a message from one computer to the other, and the first message was LO. Actually, they were trying to send login, but the first message which went was LO. Then later on, after trying and trial and error and being able to send, the second message was login, which was sent thereafter. I think it was 1 hour later on. So welcome everyone and feel most welcome. So if you have any questions, remember to use the chat section. We'll be able to assist you. So I'd just like to present the day. So the ambassadors. So this event has been organized by the ambassadors in coordination on this special day. So the ambassadors are a set of passionate individuals who have been trained and equipped by the Internet Society through the various methods of e-learning.
And to end this, we need to ensure the full-fledged participation of women.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. So the ambassadors, so the event has been organized by the ambassadors and who are passionate individuals who have been equipped by the Internet Society through various phases of training to be able to be Internet champions and collaborate and innovate for the better digital world. So this event is part of the Ambassadors Program initiative on the journey to the 2021 IGF Youth Forum, which will be held in Poland. And it's independent of the Internet Society and IGF. So when you hear us talk about Internet Society and ISOC, they're the same thing, and feel most welcome. So thanks goes to the Internet Society for giving us this chance and training us to be able to be champions for the Internet, to be champion for matters on Internet, and to be able to be at this particular place. So I'll just go forth and introduce our guest speaker. So our guest speaker who has joined us is known as Alejandra Prieto, who is the Senior Manager Fellowship Programs at ISOC, and she oversees all the programs such as the IGF, the IGF Ambassador Program, Early Career Fellowship, and the Leadership Programs. So she has served as an advocacy and outreach manager, program manager, and internet leadership at Internet Society. She has also coordinated marketing operations, implemented global projects, executed marketing campaigns, organized events, and led e-learning programs at Dassault System in Paris, the 3D Experience Company, the 3D Experience Company. So previously, she worked as an event and communication manager at the European Chemical Region Network in Brussels, and currently, and she holds a master's degree in international strategic management from the University of Paris, and 2 bachelor degrees in economics and business administration and management. So her primary responsibility is to effectively deliver global engagement programs, meeting timelines and budget requirements. So I would just like to welcome our guest speaker, Prieto, please.
Thank you very much for having me here with you today. And I have to say that it is a great initiative and just an example of how amazing things young people can do. So as you were saying, you were presenting me, introducing me here,
Yes.
my background. So I started quite young myself. And I use sometimes my example as how can youth be empowered? If you believe that you can, that's it. Really believe that you can, and you will be able to do it. So that's what I have done all my life. And I want just to say there that it's not because you are different or better or whatever. If you really believe it, you can do it. So that's what we are trying to do at the Internet Society. We want to empower young people. We want to empower you because we think that really, if you feel that you can, everything is possible. And you are our champions. The internet, as you know, it's everywhere. Who better than young people who were almost born with the internet, or when they were quite young, they were already using the internet. I think that's really important, and we really believe at the Internet Society that I think.
I'm dying because what's your bad hand? We need to keep.
Yeah, thank you. I thought someone was talking. So I'm gonna today talk a little bit about what we do at the Internet Society, because I know that some of you know, but talking about it, it's sometimes a nice way to understand why we are doing these things. So let me start with explaining what we do at the Internet Society, where I'm a senior manager of fellowship programs. So we want to build and promote and of course defend an internet that is for everyone everywhere. As you know, it's not the case. A lot of people do not have access to the internet, and in the cases where they have access to the internet, sometimes it's not what we think it should be. The internet, it should be open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy. So this global nonprofit organization, the Internet Society, empowers people to keep the internet a force for good. That's what we want. We want you to feel empowered and to be able to promote, build, and defend an internet that is open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy. So the internet was founded in 1992 by internet pioneers. The father of the internet, Vint Cerf, was part of the reason. Is one of the reasons why we exist today, and others were also there to kind of like make this kind of like the home to a global community. Community that has a lot of people around the world. So more than 60,000 people are now part of the Internet Society community. And we are driven by a common idea. When actually people have access to the internet, incredible things happen. That's something that it's known everywhere. So you kind of like understand why I'm saying this, because you can use the internet to share ideas, to build communities, to connect, to, I don't know, opportunities for education or health or work. Everything it's almost possible when you use the internet. So since its inception, actually, the Internet Society has been, I can say, at the forefront of the global internet education. So we've been empowering and training people throughout the whole world for them, in this case, also you, to become champions of the internet. And these champions are quite needed. So I myself leading specific programs that are for there to empower internet champions. So the main programs I'm leading as part of our what we call empowerment portfolio, that it includes online courses and fellowship programs. The main programs that we have, there are several, but the ones that are focused on youth, and they are really important for this part of the world of the you guys. It's that is the Early Career Fellowship. That it's a new program that we launched this year. Actually, I was about to say last year, but no, it was this year at the beginning of the year. And that program is really an opportunity to develop your career as internet champions in the world. So it's a 5-month program where you get access to experts and really academic leaders such as Oxford or Professor Lara Denardis from American University. So the young people joining this early career fellowship program, they will be able to kind of like work on projects that are growing and strengthening the internet. That's our main goal. We are now actually receiving applications. So if you're interested in applying, please go ahead. It's a really interesting program, and it's there for you to kind of like feel empowered and get all the tools and knowledge that you need to finally go out there and become internet champions and change for better the internet in your communities, regions, or everywhere. So we want impact. That's why we have these programs. And the other program that I'm leading that relates to young people, too, it's the IGF Youth Ambassador program. You are part of this one, but maybe I can explain a little bit what it is. So it's really a program that we've been around 12 years delivering a program for the IGF. So we started with a program called IGF Ambassadors, and we were running that program for years. And then in 2016, we decided to have a program that it was more focused on youth. At a moment, it was called Youth IGF Fellows, and that was the one that I started building myself. So the thing is that we had for a while 2 programs out there to empower people to attend the IGF, but at a moment we decided to focus more on youth because we thought it was kind of like a good moment for us to combine both programs and have a big, more impactful program that is now the one that you are part of, that it's the IGF Youth Ambassador program. So we combine the IGF Ambassadors with the Youth IGF, and now it's the IGF Youth Ambassador program. The reason why is because we thought that young people are out there right now at the IGF. You can feel it. You can see more people around, but not enough. There's never enough. We're missing panelists. We're missing speakers. We're missing sometimes data. And thanks to this program, every year we have more and more and more actors that are playing an important role at the IGF and beyond, because this program does not stop after the IGF. It continues. And how it continues, something that is quite remarkable is that the IGF Youth Ambassadors that participate in previous programs, they are doing great things around the world. And this is something that is fully connected with the topic that we're discussing here today. Young people are needed, and they are really, really important in the internet ecosystem. So, for example, if you know the Internet Society Youth Special Interest Group, sometimes called also the Youth Observatory, that was created by IGF fellows at a moment. And they are doing a lot of things. You really use the power of the internet to develop abilities in young adults and encourage them to participate in the development of the internet environment and its governance and everything. And they are quite active on doing great things around the world. Then, of course, you have youth represented in a lot of events, internet summits, School of Internet Governance, youth IGFs around the world. There are many organized by youth. So without youth, we would not be able to have IGFs all around the world. So these are important events that are having great impact in the world. So thanks to these youth ambassadors, we are now having many youth IGFs around the world. Of course, some of them are also leading internet society chapters or even being e-learning experts. As I mentioned before, we have online courses, and those courses need tutors. Youth are great tutors because they have the dynamic, they have the way that you know how to show things differently. You understand your audience. Young tutors are really, really important to transmit and to kind of like understand the needs in the young population and beyond. They are amazing tutors. You are all welcome if you want to be a tutor. I think we need more talented young people as tutors of courses. And then there are, of course, organizations that were created thanks to IGF Youth Ambassadors. For example, Digital Grassroots. I don't know if you haven't heard about it. Digital Grassroots, it's an initiative that aims at increasing digital literacy. This is something that you are going to talk about today too, that this organization is really, really, really important, and a great example of how young people can improve other people's life. So it's really among young population globally, and they want to promote what they do and their activities among all stakeholders. So finally, this digital literacy, it's well known and everyone can understand, and they are the internet champions that we need. So these are just, of course, examples that I want to mention. The Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, who are part of this, the IGF Youth Ambassador program too. They're thanks to the young people that were in the past part of this program. So, and they are now mentoring you. So your mentors are part of this Youth Coalition and Internet Governance, and they are helping us building, promoting, and defending the internet around the world. So because all together, if we focus on youth, you are key for everywhere, I would say, to everyone around the world that it feels that they can do more. So you are this group of people that can really, 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 really help us grow and strengthen the internet. I'm gonna stop right now because if I can speak about this for hours and hours and hours, even days. I'm so motivated and passionate about you and youth. So I will stay for a while, but now the floor, I think, goes back to you. And yes. I'm really looking forward to seeing the panelists and listening to what you are going to discuss here today. Thank you and happy Global Internet Day.
Thank you so much, and please stay on board. There are some questions actually which I think doing Q&A. If you won't be, if you'll be around, I'll direct them to you. Hope you'll be around till the end of the session. Thank you so much, and we are most welcome. So after this, I would just like, we have some poll, so please to the attendees, just give your feedback. So I'll just request the poll to be dropped so that at least we can gauge some of the things before we get into the discussions we are planning to get into. So I think on the chat on the chat section, if you click on the chat, you will see we have the poll on the right part of the chat. Yes, so on the right part of the chat, so please drop us a message. Yeah, feel free to actually give your feedback.
Hi, Vincent. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, I do. Sorry, guys.
We don't have the poll yet.
Yes. So thank you. Sorry, guys, I have some little cough, so I'm okay. So on the chat section, we have the poll section. So please, we have 8 questions. So just give your feedback. There are 3 choices, 4 choices, 5 choices. We won't share the results. We won't share like your answers, but we'll get the post that at least we can know where we are and how much we need to discuss and how we can get involved. So please, I'll give some 2 minutes for that. If you have any problem, just drop in the chat section. Okay, on the chat section, has anybody got in the chat? Just the questions. So happy Global Internet Day, everyone. So on the chat section, we have two tabs. We have chat and the polls. So please, on the poll part, just select a question. Just give your responses, please. The polls are active, and I think if you're using a mobile device, there may be slight challenges, but I think we are getting everything. Anyone who has gotten the poll yet? Just want to see how many have gotten the poll. Just comment on the chat, please. If you've been able to reach where the polls are. So on the bottom right, click on the chat. I will click on the chat. You'll get 2 options. You'll get the chat and the poll. if you're able to do that, just yes. So if you click on the chat, then open the poll tab, you'll be able to see there are only 8 questions. Yes, please. So just comment on the chat section if you're able to see the poll. If you're able to see the polls, please. Okay, thank you. The polls are open actually, so you can be able to respond. On the bottom part, let me just repeat. On the bottom part, we have the chat option. Click on the chat option, then it will open a menu bar. Then on the first side, there's chat. Then the second part, there's polls. So it's select on the poll tab, and now, yes, and then just give a response, and we'll appreciate that. So as we wait for that to continue, if you have any problem, just let us know in the chat section. So remember to use our hashtag. I've actually shared them in the chat section. Just share them again. And we'll be taking questions from Twitter, taking questions from the chat section, and our panelists will get to answer them as we continue the discussions. So after this, as we wait for you guys to clear on the poll, so I'll add 1 more minute for that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys. If you see the poll, just comment on the chat section. You see the poll. If you see the poll, just comment. Okay. So on to the next part. So as we wait for you to find us on that, I'll just like to introduce our speakers because of a matter of time. So we are blessed and we are excited, and through the engagement of the panelists that we have 5 panelists will be with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening. So I'll start with our first panelist. I'll just introduce them all. So we have Francis Javier from Uganda. So Francis Javier has a background in computer and alumni network committee lead and at Masters Foundation Uganda. Then he's also a Generation Connect Africa Youth Envoy at the International Telecommunication Union. Then currently he works to enable meaningful youth participation and active involvement in issues of internet and empowering the youth. Our second panelist is Tiwari from India. So Tiwari is a graduate in media governance from Jamia Millia Islam New Delhi, with 3 years of working experience in strategic communication. As you continue, please remember to get done with the polls. Then I'll also continue. So her focus is on spreading digital media literacy among the youth, and is driven by transformative potential of the internet. Then she's interested in politics, regulations, as she aims to find workable solutions for bridging the digital divide. Our third panelist is Osei Manu from Ghana. So Osei holds a BSc in biological sciences from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana. He's a member of the Ghana Institute of ICT Professional and an ambassador at Digital Grassroots. He's a tutor at secondary school level, with a keen interest in educating, building capacity for an open, accessible internet, and empowering people on the aspect about internet governance. So he's passionate about cybersecurity, digital literacy, digital inclusion, and digital rights. Our next panelist is James, the class from Haiti. So he's the co-founder of CRICRAC, or Computer Project, and which promotes an affordable model for bringing technology and information to primary school level education, primary school level children in the center of Haiti and beyond. He holds a bachelor degree from Higher School of Infotronics Haiti, and he works to empower young generation to tackle their challenges and drive towards their ambitions. So those are our panelists who will be engaging with us. So I would just like to welcome, Stella to show the poll results, as I invite Tiwari to just give us a brief input into the polls as we get the discussions going. I hope everyone was able to actually do the polls. Thank you. Please, okay. Stella, please. Okay, as we go on that, remember to drop your questions on the chat section. I've seen some questions which you shared about the program, about security, about digital marketing, and so on. So our panelists will engage in them, and our guest speaker will answer some of them. Matters about the IGF program and what you need to do to be able to actually be part of the team. And the youth, the internet has so much to offer for the youth, and welcome everyone. So if the polls are not yet up, I would just like to go on to the main part of the discussion. Okay, thank you. So our first topic, which we'll discuss this morning, afternoon, this evening, is about digital media literacy. So it's all about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the online platforms. And we have guest speakers who are actually in that field. We have guest speakers who actually have interest in that field. So I would just like to actually point out, so to Tiwari, if you're in, just like, so what do you understand by the media literacy and digital literacy? And just a brief introduction into the two and the differences and how they work together. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hi, Vincent, and hello to everybody. It's so lovely to have this session with all of you. Vincent, I hope I am audible,
Yes,
and
yes, you are.
yeah.
You are.
Okay, perfect. So yeah. So what you asked, specifically about having digital media literacy. Now, guys, I mean, in my personal opinion, digital media literacy isn't very different from media literacy. The traditional media literacy, as we talk about. So for a very long time, there have been a lot of studies wherein, so those researchers have tried to explore the traditional platform of television, newspapers, magazines, radios. So the earliest study dates back to around like 1950s, wherein Herta Hazarov was like the initial researchers amongst them, and also it traces this idea of tracking digital media literacy. It traces back to the World War II, wherein a lot of these activities, for example, you name it, so be it like focus group discussions or content analysis, so they were actually used as a strategic tool to gain an understanding. So I mean, like, that's wherein the audience's preference was explored, wherein the allied forces were trying to explore, wherein how their enemies, which all territories have their enemies conquered largely. So, and they did that by using radio as a tool, and to locate, and they also tried to locate wherein the demand came from for the most popular tracks of that particular time. So just on this basis, they gained an understanding on sort of wherein these army troops were positioned, and it actually gave them a success in locating their enemies. So yeah, I mean, so like, it's not something that it's new, or it's not something that's only restricted to the digital platform, but it has been there for a while. And also we have a lot of theories wherein scholars have worked on theories like magic bullet theory, uses and gratification theory, media setting theory, agenda setting theory, cultivation theories. So there is a very long history associated with this. So digital media literacy, like, when we talk about this platform as a digital platform specifically, so it's still in a very nascent stage. Although, like, world economies are progressing towards a very digital future, but the fact remains that one might not even hesitate to look at the terms and conditions of any particular social media platform that they're sort of using it. And that's very challenging idea for us as someone who is trying to spread ideas on these topics, how users should be aware about their own privacy. So it's really important that we all come together to sort of explore this idea. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. And I would just even like to go to our next next panelist and just to give us what the current state of digital literacy in the world and also in the internet space. So just like James, if he's in, James, yeah, James, please. Okay, as is coming in, I would, yes, I think he's in.
Okay, thank you, Vincent. As you did a very wonderful introduction, before I will not introduce myself, and I'll see directly at the topic. Actually, our ambassador Pernima talked about digital media literacy. So part of my understanding is on digital literacy by itself, and not 2 points. First of all, the fact that digital literacy can foster responsible digital citizen, and the other one is like who need actually to be digitally literate, digitally confident, and how we can do this. So, but before I dive into the subjects, I would like just to share my screen and give 10 seconds to the attendees to take a quick look of this question. How I can share my screen here? Okay, I just see it. Okay, can you see my screen? Everyone?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes, we can.
Okay, this is 5 questions. Just take a brief look on it. Okay, actually, if you answer yes for all of those questions, this is wonderful. That means you are basically digitally literate, and which is very good for internet governance, and which is very good for the future of the internet, for a brighter future of the internet. So, because the reason is digital literacy is the knowledge that you have to use the digital technologies with an adequate level for communication, for online safety, for information researching, for collaboration. So let's see our first question: how digital literacy can foster responsible digital citizen. As you know, the internet is the interconnected network. Actually, we come from a physical world to a digital world where everything that we go actually we tend for digital, like from learning online, from purchasing online, to work to working online, and listen to music online. Everything is online now. That means we are doing our daily life online. So in internet governance, we are working to see how the internet can be safer, can be more inclusive and accessible to everyone. But to have a safe place on to have the internet as a safe place, we need people that who has the basic understanding how to use effectively technological tools. By this, digital literacy is very crucial and critical, because when we have our world citizen, all world citizen digital literate, this provide to him the basic knowledge to respect each one and others idea and opinion over the internet, to actually know how to search effectively online, to respect what we can call the intellectual property, like give credit when you use like documents, like videos, voice, everything like others property that you use for your personal for your personal use. Second question is, who need to be digital literate? According to a report that I saw by ITU on 2020, actually we have about 2.7 billion of people. They are running without no internet connection and basically don't have understanding about digital literacy. So now those people are mostly in rural, in developing country and rural areas. So we need to have particularly those people digital literate. Normally, on a daily basis, everyone needs to be digital literate. But actually, those people, those unconnected, we need to have them digitally literate. Children, youngs, adults, regardless to gender, color, disability, everybody need to be digital literate because the internet is inclusive. We want everyone to have the basic knowledge and to have the same equality over the internet. As I said before, those people are in rural areas, mostly in developing country, which is make access to those areas a little bit complicated. How to do it, how to train them is by designing affordable model. When I talk about affordable model, there is example of youth initiative, like particularly an example is the Quicker Computer project that we are experiencing in Haiti. It is an affordable model, a mobile lab that we transportable on motorcycle, where we bring a minimum of 20 computers to teach digital literacy to primary school, rural organizations, and youngs in rural areas. Another wonderful project, digital literacy project, is the Digital Grassroots, who is that fostering digital understanding in Africa, and they are doing a very wonderful job. Digital literacy is very important. And my intervention today is, I would like to invite everyone to work on training in the level that you can, in your community, in your church, everywhere, in your organization. So train this generation is preparing a better future for the internet, because those people who actually has no internet connection, they will have internet connection in the future, because internet society mission is have the internet accessible to everyone, inclusive. So that means in the future they will have internet connection. If we have them digital literate, actually they will be digitally confident, and they will be very good asset for the for their safety and safety of others, and for a very good future of the internet. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, James. Yeah, you've actually answered even panelists one of the guest question, which was asked about more about the media literacy, and I think you've covered that. So thank you so much. So just under this, I'd just like to go to the last topic, which are like we have Sonia Livingston once said that media literacy is a silver bullet. So I'll just pose this question to one of our panelists, Osei Manu from Ghana. So do you think the internet, the media internet needs to be regulated?
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. I'm extremely delighted to be talking to you all on this World Global Internet Day. So Sonia Livingston, quite coincidentally, released this article exactly 3 years ago on 28 October, where she talked about it being a silver bullet, education being a silver bullet. Two of my panelists have extensively ventilated all what we need to know about media literacy and also that of digital literacy. But at the heart of this media literacy is hate speech cybersecurity. How is on the one divide, how is one able to responsibly ventilate the fact that this is a true story, this is a fake news? How is also one on other divide to how is also one able to responsibly use these digital tools to create? I 100% do agree with Sonia that education alone can't be a driver in solving all these issues. We need to also regulate these tech companies. Somewhere in 2020, at the 2018, at the back of the Cambridge Analytica, and a whole lot of scandals went on where there was data harvestation and all. A lot of organizations, EFF, and that of Article 19, proofed civil organizations, academics, articulated stories, solutions, how details of algorithms and core functions of be trusted to researchers, and how also circuits barriers. We are seeing significant change these days. 2 days ago, YouTube are gradually removing autoplay to prevent children from being fed endless videos. Instagram will no longer allow unknown adults to send direct message to children under 18, and Google will stop targeting us at anyone under 18. So education has its own challenges. At the heart of it will be the already existing inequalities, how expensive it is, and some people will not even take the education. So conclusively, I know people will say how if big technologies are regulated, it's going to stifle free speech and all. We can have our free speech, but it can't be amplified. It can't be propagated by these spaces in the big tech industry. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much on that. And just to final on that, so I hope if you have any question, just drop on the chat section. We are on, just remember to use the hashtags on Twitter. We'll pick them and answer as time goes by. So I just go to the next topic, which we want to discuss, which about internet governance. And I would just like now to welcome Javier from Uganda, and just Javier from Uganda. So just to ask, so what I would just like to ask, what about internet governance? How can we actually be able to utilize multi-stakeholder approach to be able to actually inculcate the aspect about internet governance to everyone and to have the success of it?
Yes, thanks so much, Mr. Mwando, for that wonderful question. I welcome everyone for attending this meeting. My name is Francis. I like the way you introduced me, and I would like to dive straight into the discussion of internet governance. So the internet is governed in a multi-stakeholder model where we have different parties who have interests and who are players in managing the internet. So we have the technical community, we have the civil society, we have the government, and we have other players that are really very pertinent in shaping how the internet is working. So each of these multi stakeholders participate through various bodies, so they can contribute in a way that can be enabling for the growth and proliferation of enabling internet to attain its values. So the multi-stakeholder model brings in together various stakeholders as a group to bargain policies, to talk about issues that are pertaining and pressing the internet. So the presence of youth in this multi-stakeholder model is always welcome. So the youth can always find a way they can fit into the multi-stakeholder model, be it part of government or be it part of the civil society. Youth have always shown a very influential impact in how they shape policies and how they participate in the way of bringing the internet and enabling it to achieve its mission. So when internet was created, it was created on the principles of openness, inclusivity, security, and trust. So there are principles that guide how internet is governed, and so these are the principles that the multi-stakeholders in internet governance are always try to come and defend, always try to come and amend, depending on how the internet is evolving and changing. we've seen a recent spike in cybersecurity issues. So there is always a way that the multiple stakeholders, we can have governments can sit as stakeholders in their multilateral bodies, so that they can do policies that can enable to regulate how internet is used in countries, or how policies are enacted that is going to be enabling for internet to be open, trustworthy, and secure for the users. So the multi-stakeholder model is the way that is used for governing and regulating the internet. There is always a misconception on how the internet is governed. Most times people refer internet governance as governments regulating the net, which is not the case. The multi-stakeholder model is the how internet is being governed, but not necessarily the government administering the net. Not necessarily the government as it's always viewed on a window view perspective. The multi-stakeholders always come into different forms. As I said, we have the technical community that govern how the processes of technology that define the internet, such as the HTTP protocols, that's hypertension, protocols that's for communication. We have the TCP IP addresses, and then the ICANN. We have the IP addresses that are managed by the ICANN. So all these are multi-stakeholders that govern how internet is being administered on the technology end of things. Then when it comes to the government end of things, we have policies being administered, and we have a government sitting through various panels such as the MAG, that is multilateral advisory groups. That's for the governments coming together to discuss policies on how internet is being regulated. So the MAGs come in, bringing the governments to bring their take, bring their perspective on how much governments regulate the internet, while the technical society also sits with the technical people such as the ICANN to regulate how can we have processes of technology open and inclusive in a way that the internet is open, accessible, trustworthy, and secure for the society. So it's always for the benefit of the society that the internet is always governed and regulated. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Yes, you've actually gone to the second part, which actually I just wanted, just for our next panelist, Mr. Fred from Ghana. Just in less than a minute, just can multi-stakeholderism and multilateralism coexist? Just at least, just give the difference. Then at least you can they really coexist? Okay.
Hello, everyone connected here. I want to say happy Global Internet Day celebration to everyone here. Thank you very much for transitioning me into this topic, that multi-stakeholder approach and multilateralism, can it be in the same sphere, or can it coexist and stay together? First of all, someone would want to know, I would like not to use too complex terms, but to speak in a way that everyone who has little knowledge of this concept will be able to understand. So we can all attest to the fact that we have dictatorship, and we have like some kind of open way of leadership, like when it comes to our various countries. So when we take multilateralism, where we take our family, for example, we have a family where the father would be someone who opposes things on their children. And we also have a family type where the family sits together to reason together, to be able to know what to do, especially the children. Then they go to meet the father. Then the father allows them to be able to engage with him, so that when they are done, then everyone agrees on what needs to be provided in the family to ensure that everyone is satisfied. This approach that I've explained, the first one where the father always imposes things on people or on their children, are the multilateralism. That is where we look at governments within the various states trying to impose.
Yes, thank you so much, Fred from Ghana. Thank you for giving us that aspect. So I would just like to go to the next topic. If you have any question, just drop on the chat section. We will be getting to them. So it's about privacy and cybersecurity. And I think you may be wondering why we are actually dwelling into this topic, because we believe that the youth has so much to offer. We believe that through digital literacy, media literacy, we can be able to actually be champions. We believe through internet governance that we can be able to actually enlighten and be well equipped, be able to know how to actually give out our input, because you've been exposed to the various multi-stakeholder groups. So if you are somebody who is interested in an aspect about policy, there's the civil society group where you can join that. If you are somebody in government, we have that aspect. If you're somebody in the technical community, you can join that group. If you're somebody under academia, you can join that. So all of us have a place to contribute, and you're all welcome to be part of the internet society and at large the internet, the internet ecosystem. So the next part is about privacy and cybersecurity. So I would just like to point this out to Tiwari from India. So just about this aspect. So just give us just a brief, like maybe 1 minute, about privacy and the current state of cyber privacy and what the internet society believes about privacy. Just a brief 1 minute, please.
Okay, sure. So, Vincent, for like just to carry on from the discussion that we were already having about digital media literacy, so it's very important for the first-time internet users to engage with the idea of privacy, and like how the social media or like these any tech companies sort of like use the privacy or the private data of the users for their own and the idea of the transaction that's involved there. Like you just don't use the platform, but you also sort of like you use the platform, and in exchange they take your personal data for to selling it to the digital marketeers. And so also, I mean, there is need to be a dialogue here, because like there have been a lot of reports wherein like we learn that the personal user data has been sold at a very like very limited prices. So that's just one thing to explore. And like just to give a bit of sort of idea here, there is a thing called Manila principles. And so like they also sort of I mean, they kind of like, when they talk about the intermediate liability part, they restrict that the restriction of the content, it must be very clear and be unambiguous, and like it follow the due process. So what usually happens when the governments are sort of like to try to take down any particular post, they really don't understand the nuances behind it, that what I just mentioned about the Manila principles. Like, so that's one interesting idea to look about. And the second thing that I would really like to quote here is that there is a particular thing called draft of the Global Networks Initiative. So in its rule third, I think it's section 9, so whereby they talk about how by requiring the intermediaries to sort of actively monitor and filter out the content, it actually transforms these intermediary platforms like WhatsApp and Signal. It transforms them from being a neutral provider of access to a provider of access of services to someone as a censoring body. So now it's very interesting to note how user privacy and user data comes up in this entire context. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So just on that aspect, just to continue this discussion, there's been so many issues about companies getting our data, and even we all know, like now they're making a joke about Android phone, that you go to the web and maybe look for any item, like for example, maybe you want shoes, maybe you want clothes, you want this. Then all of a sudden, across all your platforms, Facebook, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, you'll find ads about that. So I would just like to pinpoint this to Fred, our guest panelist from Ghana. So Fred, on this aspect, what is your take about companies actually being able to actually use such information, like for example, the cookies and so on, to be able to actually get our data? And is our data really private in the digital space? Just on that.
All right, thank you very much, Vincent, again for this opportunity. Yeah, so I think privacy and cybersecurity issues have become much of a concern, and now data protection laws are being enacted, those that have already been enacted in different countries are being enforced, because most countries are not enforcing some of these data protection or data privacy laws. And so as a result, we are still in the phase where we are, let's say, evolving, and a lot of people are adapting this. But the major companies like Facebook, which is currently rebranding into Meta, and Google and Amazon and all those bigger internet industry companies are the ones that actually face a lot of these privacy protection issues, where they are being chased here and there to ensure that our information, the messages that we share on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on all the other platforms, on YouTube, are being encrypted so that we are able to stay in a private space of ourselves. Then government data, sensitive data from individuals like credit card informations and other details of individuals that we use on commercial websites to purchase items. We are also asking, and they are enforcing these laws to ensure that those data are being encrypted, so it is not easily accessible by, in quote, the bad people out there, so that they don't infiltrate us with spam emails and other things that are not required. So this is the level that we've gotten to. And as of now, in Ghana, for example, the data protection laws are being enforced now. And so almost all the IT institutions are being forced to stick to the standards of the ISO 27001, where every company has to make sure you are encrypting your data, especially the sensitive informations that you collect. And these informations are very critical, where when somebody gets access to them, can be used against the individuals or the corporate institutions. So
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Fred. Thank you so much. I would just like to go to our next speaker, our next topic actually. And I'm actually picking your questions, those who sent them. So please. Okay. Yes. So the next question is about in inclusion, digital inclusion. So I would just like to point out to Osei, this one is from Ghana. So, like I would just like, what's the state of digital inclusion in the internet ecosystem? Just you can just give a brief about that, the state of inclusion in the internet ecosystem.
Hello, everyone. So a quick one. Please, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so the state of the digital inclusion has been one which was checked, but right now the gap is gradually narrowing. But as one gap is narrowing, another one is also opening up. We look about the gig economy. I think someone asked a question in the chat, how the gig economy is sustainable. Is it sustainable? But as the gig economy is moving to a scalable way, another one, the gap is also opening. We talk of inclusion of people with disabilities and that of gender. The pandemic, which has proven to be a giant elephant in the room, has further widened the gap. As of yesterday, the report from the African CDC suggests only 8% of Africans have one shot dose of the COVID vaccine. And this has further widened the gap. IMF projects Africa to increase in terms of our economy by 2.7%. And this can only further happen when there is an inclusivity involving everyone. There is inclusivity involving the use of the internet. As the internet is more accessible to everyone, this can't be achieved. So we have an onerous task upon us as youth to further use the resources available to get everyone involved. I'll let my fellow panelists come in on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. So I would just like to go on to our next panelist and just ask that, We even the internet, the IGF forum, the Internet Governance Forum, which we held in Poland this year, the main theme is about Internet United. So how can we be champions on in inclusivity in the digital space? Like how can we be actually get involved in this? So I would just like to spare this to Tiwari just a bit. Can just give a glimpse about that. Like this year's theme is about Internet United. So how can you as the youth be able to be involved in the IGF which is come forth, and how can we actually drive the theme about in digital inclusion?
Right. So I think Vincent, when we essentially talk about Internet United as a theme, it talks about a lot of it being very inclusive. So democratizing the internet in every way possible. So like be it the space for the marginal people, like people who normally don't find representations in let's say the traditional media of televisions and other platforms. So like people coming from LGBTQ community, the like women as a gender altogether, like that's one thing that we have been fighting for a long time. And yeah, I mean, like so these things, and like like be it your identity, you can be anybody, and in this platform, and like internet is some it's transformational in that sense that everybody has a place here, and everybody can actually contribute to a particular discussion. So I would just like to just quickly take this idea of inclusion to just to include how like it goes forward, so how youth can actually impact here. So when we talk about the misuse of this platform, what largely comes across is that we were doing a work at Defix, and like this particular course. So the main conclusion like that came across was that Defix was largely, like, I think the data said something around 96% were used for essentially for revenge porn. So now that is one concern that really restricts a lot of users from using this particular platform. They tend to shy away, and like that because of this entire discussions about like privacy, and like is it really viable in that sense. So really we really need to have sort of ideas in these sense. And also when it comes to elections, it's an altogether different sort of ball game. When it comes to deepfakes being used as for a political motive, that is some sort of idea that we really need to engage with, because like we might think it's really not a big deal, but it might hamper someone's internet users experience, and like this might actually limit the idea of inclusion for that matter. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Our panelists are well loaded. They are loaded on these issues, and thank you so much for being our guests. So I'll just like to go to the final topic about the future of the internet and the youth, and that's why I actually preach about the youth in that section. So for those who send their questions, we are answering them as we go on, and be ready. Once we are done, we'll give you some 5 minutes. So if you have any question, you can raise your hand and you can ask the panelists your question, a question, and they'll be able to answer. So I would just like to call back James. James, so what's the current state of the youth involvement in the internet space? Just if you can just give maybe a minute about that, James. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. What's the
Can you
current
hear
state
me?
of the youth involvement? Yes, we do.
Yes. Actually, there is different initiative that led by youths regarding the future of the internet. Earlier, we saw digital grassroots, and there is in Africa there is Asante Africa. There is like Kika computer project. Those are initiatives that led by youth for digital literacy, technological innovation, and they are working to see how they can like bring together like the children and actually this generation, like training them and empower them for a better future of the internet. So part of those activities are basically on the training aspect, which is very good because you know part of the challenges that we are facing now are like on safety, like on like misinformation, like on the internet. it is good as initiative that we keep training people and like empower them to have the basics for a better and a brighter future of the internet. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm seeing our chief speaker, Prieto. If you're still in, there's just a question which was posted, and thank you. Or she has already left. She was with us for. Thank you so much for being. If you're still in, just let me know. Okay, I'll just go on to the next question. I think she's still in. Prieto, if you're able, just let me know. I'll just give you the mic. So on to the next. Okay, on to the next question. I just asked that. Excuse. So what is in the recent time we've seen aspect about Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, where in the last 3 weeks we had they actually ended up there was like an outrage for around 6 hours, and we saw just how much people rely on the social media. So I'll just point out this question to Mr. Fred from Ghana, apparently from Ghana. So how can we be prepared for such incidents in the future, like where some of the websites, some of the platforms we use and really rely on can end up just being shut down, maybe because of somebody slept on his job or just because it's the technical error. So how can we prepare for such instances in the near future or in the foreseeable future?
Thank you very much, Vincent, for this. So when it comes to websites being shut down or websites being unaccessible on the internet, usually it comes to a lot of factors where we have the DNS playing a major role there. We have the hosting company, maybe due to some system upgrades, may cause their data center to be unreachable. It could be router configuration where maybe there might have been some update on the script or the configuration script that was used. So with regards to this, Internet Society has a project that they are doing with regards to internet in itself shut down in certain areas or localities for government, let's say for government interest or for specific disaster issues. So they call it the Internet Resilience Program. So they are trying to understand why some disasters are able to take off a whole country. When we take example, Haiti, I think those who are from Haiti can attest to that when they had a disaster taking off the whole country from the internet. And that is a malice. Now, when we look at the question that you asked right now, your question was limited to the websites that goes down. So when we take the recent Facebook, WhatsApp, social media issue that we had, we realized that most of us have become so reliant on these major platforms, the WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, so much that we literally forgot about the other platforms on the internet. And with us able to take charge or to be able to prepare against the shutdowns that happens, we as users also have to equip ourselves with some of the other platforms on the internet so that in case one is down, you're able to reach out to other people on the other platforms as well. But it was unfortunate that it came from a major stakeholder here, where Facebook seems to be something that a lot of people can't stay away from. And it is very good that we have such situations, but we shouldn't have situations where the website itself goes down or the service they are rendering goes down. So the application went down, and according to the research that was done, it looks like it was a DNS issue, and they also indicated that it was a BGP configuration. The BGP that I've mentioned is what allows routers to be recognized on the internet.
Thank you so much for that. Yes. Yes. Okay.
As a network, it wants to get.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so just like to go on, and we'll be having some 10 minutes so that you can have the Q&A. So some of the questions which I would just like to ask now the panelists, because just from what the members actually sent. So I'm seeing most of you ask about how to be a youth ambassador, how to be part of the program. So we'll find us with that question. So just to feel most welcomed. I would just like to point out one question here. So how can we contribute to the internet at all? I think Osei, you can just give 1 minute about that. How can we contribute to the internet at all? For all. How can we contribute to the internet for all? A guest asked this question.
Hello. So a quick one. We are far behind time. So I'll do quick 30 seconds of this, and my fellow ambassador, Francis, will come in. So the internet is for everyone. The internet is for the underserved, unserved, so everyone. And as in one of our, I think Francis made a quick point, it's one resource which is not going to deplete it. It's for everyone. We all must contribute it. And as youth, if you look at Africa, 1.3 billion population, a greater portion of us, the greater number of us is the youth. And how do we use it effectively to drive a sustainable economy? So I will let my fellow panelists, Francis, come in here.
Yes, Javier, yes.
Yes, thanks so much, moderator. For contributing towards accessible internet for all, we've had spaces that are very open for youth to participate and raise their voices on issues concerning internet governance. One of the platforms that are readily available for the youth
Mr. Javier, just
in issues of internet.
You are low. You are
Yeah,
too
can
low.
you hear me now?
Yes, we do now.
Yeah,
yes,
so there are various. Yeah, okay. There are various platforms that exist for youth to raise their voices on issues that concern the internet. We have within the Internet Society, this is one of the platforms that youth have been given so that they can come into the pulpit and contribute, participate meaningfully and actively on issues of internet governance, contribute towards policy, and also how we can frame and adjust some of the things that we feel like they are the ones that are not be able to achieve this. We have the IGF Youth. We also have social interest groups for youth within the Internet Society that if you could help and be a member, this is an opportunity for you to have your voice raised and also be heard within the spaces of internet governance and also within the ecosystem. Also, there are various organizations have opened their spaces for youth to participate actively in contributing towards how can we shape policies that are governing technology and internet governance. One of the organizations that I know that actively welcomes the participation of youth in shaping technology policies and how it runs its processes.
Thanks. Yeah.
They have a generation for youth to actually participate and actively.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Javier from Uganda. So I would just like now to give room, as I'm going through the questions, I would just like to give our esteemed guests, if you have any question you want to ask the panelists, and you feel you just want to speak. I'm seeing from the chat, we have Mr. Ginny Spicer has asked that in the recent Facebook blackout shows how much power private companies have over massive parts of the internet routing. This is in addition to the influence on. How can we hold private companies accountable for routing security? So I think our panelist Fred spoke about this. So if you think the answer wasn't sufficient, you can just drop. Then I'll bring him back. So the next, okay, I think he has responded. So if you have any other question, please just raise your hand. To our esteemed guests, if you have any question, if you can't chat and you want to just speak, please feel free to raise your hand. I'm seeing Enoch, Mr. Enoch. Mr. Enoch has, yes. Yeah, Enoch, please, yeah, you can unmute.
Hello, good afternoon,
Good
and
afternoon.
thank you for such a wonderful discussion. I'm enjoying the interaction and I'm getting to learn one or two things. It's very important, as we keep stressing, that the youth get involved in internet governance actively. And but one thing I've seen is a level of apathy or lack of interest in getting involved. I've approached a few people and they feel like if I'm not an IT oriented person, if I don't have any technical involvement in technology, then internet governance is not for me. There's that kind of lack of passion or interest, or they don't even feel qualified to, or it's not something they should bother about if they are not technically oriented, if they are not doing anything that has to do with technology. I mean, if they are not working in an industry or doing something that has to do with technology. So I want to ask the panelists, in their own experience, how do we get the youth to understand that internet governance goes beyond being an IT worker or having IT background or anything of that sort, but just being an internet user alone, you need to get involved as a youth. How do we get them motivated? How do we send that message in a way that they will understand us? Thank you very much.
Yeah, Vincent, can I take that?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. So what Mr. So it's largely about like how non. I think like that's what he wanted to say, that like how non-technical person can sort of get involved in the entire idea of internet governance. So so like just on in my particular opinion, internet is for everybody, like be it a technical person or a non-technical person. So like the kind of stakeholders we have, like we have government, we have tech companies, we have internet service providers, and we also have civil societies. So not necessarily the person who creates the software and or someone who's work with the hardware or somewhere, but also we require people at the space of internet governance who can actually create and hold such dialogues. When we talk about there are a lot of issues, obviously. When we talk about the idea of net neutrality, or when we talk about the idea of encryption, so it's very much essential that we sort of make our voices heard, collectively as a user, because it's often noted that as a user, your interest or your sort of yeah, your interests are often compromised by the more powerful entities, be it like the larger governments, or be it the telecom companies. So I'll just I'll just finish this with an sort of an idea from my home country, India. So India is basically a home to 560 million internet subscribers, and that is only second to China. And now India, for that matter, it has a very complex spectrum when we talk about internet governance. Like there is a very critical balance of establishing the welfare policies for the second largest population, and also to sort of balance out the aspirations to become a $5 trillion economy by 2024. So now this is a very interesting challenge for a developing nation. So, and also like it's very interesting to know, like there is a particular Morgan Stanley report like which says that by 2025 India's working population will grow up to 87 million. Like that's only against probably the 19 million of USA. So these population will need better laws for the safety and security of internet, and we also need a lot of diversity in here. So it's not like that, like some developer sitting in the Silicon Valley might could contribute the policies of internet, and internet being a universal thing, like it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be geographical dominated, obviously. So we really need to come across and like be you can even be from a non-technical background, and you can still contribute to this discussion of having, you can actually ask and claim for this idea that you can have sort of like internet coding, like any of these ideas in your native languages. And that's something that we really need at this point, diversity in terms of policy, when we can actually explore it in a better way, I guess.
Thank you.
I just
Thank
hope
you.
it answers the
Yes.
question.
Thank you so much. And I encourage our panelists, please, if you have a question, you can just answer it on the chat. Just type on the chat so that at least we don't go past the time. just drop it, just like I'm seeing it's going on. Thank you so much. I saw from Oloyede, I hope I pronounce it right. I'm sorry if I made a mistake. Oloyede, please, you can come in, you can unmute.
Thank you very much. My name is Abdulkarim Oloyede. I just first of all want to commend the organizers of this event. And I also want to commend the panelists for the wonderful presentation. And I just want to have a comment on what the last question that was asked the panelists. Just a comment from my side. Yes, to say that even as ordinary internet users, there is what we call the ordinary internet users. The ordinary internet users are also stakeholders in the internet community. Even if you're not producing anything, even if you're just an ordinary internet user, because the internet is produced for ordinary people to be able to use it. So the feedback from an ordinary internet user is also as important as that of the technical community and as that of those that work in the internet industry. So it is important for us, even if we are not working in the internet community or we don't do anything, as long as we use the internet. The internet today is not just anything. It is an essential commodity. It is as essential as having good road, having water, having a house to live in. That is how the internet is to everybody these days. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And we are all actually sharing, and our panelists are well endowed and well loaded. And also thanks to our guests, they are well loaded. Any other question just from the, yes, I'm seeing, okay, thank you. Is there anybody other question? You can just raise your hand. So as we go on, I would just like to bring one ambassador to actually just give a brief about this. And I'll just request, okay, as you say, you can just, most people have been asking about how to be an ambassador. So just give some of the requirements, and I'll share the link. So please just follow this link and you can be able to see most of the questions we'll be asking about being, how to be an ambassador, how to be part of this. And remember, we all part of the internet, even the user, all the stakeholder groups, all of us have something to influence the internet. So yes, Mr. Say, just you can just okay, if he's not there, I can.
Hello, I'm here. Please, you like? It's okay. Someone asked a question about language inclusion in the digital space. So quick one, 30 seconds. So with pertaining to Africa, we have the Kizi Swahili. I hope I pronounced it well, Vincent, which is a widely spoken language in East Africa. 180 million people. During the pandemic, young Africans did collaborated. They tried to make it best as possible to make local languages from Chi, Dagbani, Zulu, incorporated into Wikipedia. As young leaders, as the youth, we can just collaborate to pandemic to Nigeria through the United Nations development. They were able to incorporate Igbo, Hausa into their language. So we can't burden these big tech companies too. As software developers, we can develop local content, languages for our local content. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think I can bring Fred. Just you can just give. Members are asking about how to be an ambassador. So I think it has been. I've seen it as almost a quarter of the guests ask about that. So just you can just give a brief about the Youth Ambassador program. Just 1 minute if possible. Then I'll share the link so they can follow that too.
All right. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Vincent, once again. Yes, so the Internet Society Youth Ambassador Program is an annual program that the Internet Society rolls out. First of all, they start with a call for applications. And the call for applications is done usually in May or in June. Then when they open the call for applications, you have to submit an abridged application, and they will review. And if you are lucky and selected, you will be taken through a 4-week internet governance course. So whilst you do the course is very engaging and exciting actually, and it teaches you a lot about how to understand the internet governance principles and how to participate effectively in it. Then whilst you are successful in the 4 weeks program, you are also given the opportunity to write a paper submission. So in our case, we wrote a paper on current and emerging issues on internet governance. So you select a topic and then you write a paper on it, a paper for publication, actually. Then when the paper for publications are reviewed and you are successful, you'll be announced as an ambassador. Then once you become an ambassador, it doesn't end there. You are taken through series of courses and trainings and pitching and public speaking trainings as well. And you're also paired with a mentor, where the mentor is also able to train you to become a better leader and a better person to be able to participate effectively in the ambassadorship program. So this is how the ambassadors program is. And every year, the ambassadors are also funded to the global IGF that is organized by the UN, and it is jointly organized by the UN and the host country. So this year, the IGF is going to be at the Poland. So it's jointly organized by the UN and the Poland government. So everyone is invited to that event. You can participate locally, or you can participate on site. If you are participating locally, then you can use remote means to join the session, and it's going to be on Zoom. You can check out the website. I'll share the website details on the chat session so that everyone can have an idea of this. And it's a multi-stakeholder environment. So you and I are all invited. We don't have specific people who are invited to partake in this. So you can learn whilst we celebrate this day together. Happy Global Internet Day to everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope that answers your questions. So it is open for everyone, and I've shared the link on the chat. So please go through the link. If you have any questions, actually the panelists will drop their emails, so that you can actually direct questions which maybe we didn't answer, or any other challenge you may have. Then they'll help you recommend and be able to, yes, join the internet space and be of impact to the internet at large. So just that, I would just also like to go back to the next question, which was shared as well. So just, I would request the panelists, please just drop where the guest can be able to reach you. So just drop on the chat so that they can be able to save that. So feel free to reach out to them with any question pertaining internet or matters internet, and they'll be there to assist you. So the next question, as wait for that, I was looking if anybody has raised their hand. If you raised your hand, let me see, nobody so far. So just go back to the form and see a question which was raised by, as we are almost done, just the last question. How can the youth from rural communities also tap into this knowledge? I'll just share this, I'll just direct this to Mr. James. James, just 30 seconds. How can the youth be able to actually benefit from this knowledge? Please, 30 seconds. He's on board. He's so much, yes.
Vincent, can you take the question for me, please?
Yes. So the question is, how can the youth, let me just read the word here. How can the youth from rural communities also tap into the knowledge? So I think the knowledge about, I think, is it about the internet? Okay, that's the question. So I think about privacy, cybersecurity, it was in that part. So you can just...
Yes, okay. Thank you. By the coming of COVID-19, we use actively internet for online learning, like to learn to continue our university studies, high school studies, and to shop, to make everything. So those knowledge can be useful as we are surfing, and they will help us to better behave over the internet. And another part of this, the good use of digital media and a digital platform are have very good benefit nowadays by like the coming the growing of e-commerce. And overall, now those knowledges are very critical both now and for the future generation. So I think if we looked, I think if we watch the pitching of Mark Zuckerberg yesterday, like presenting like the future of Facebook with Meta, so we can attend with big things for the future, like where lot of good product that we will have to use over the internet. Those knowledge will be mandatory as more we are using the internet, it's more we are leaving our footprint over the internet, and we need better understanding of how the internet works. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, James. Thank you, James. So we are just come to the end, and I'd just like now the panelists just a parting shot as you as we end the session. So to start from Javier, please, just a parting shot, just as parting shot, just 20 seconds, 10 seconds, please.
Yeah, thanks so much, moderator. My last words for today, as we celebrate the Internet Day to the youth, it's not just in some of us that were able to advocate and talk about the issues pertaining the internet. The platform is very open. Everyone is welcome to join and disrupt the sector of technology. All welcome to participate, wherever you start from, whether you start as a local advocate, whether you start as someone doing some online course in cybersecurity and digital literacy. It's all very open. We all need these skills. We all need the knowledge. Internet is here to stay. It's the only resource that will never get depleted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll go to the next. Fred. Fred, please. Just parting shot, please. Okay. If yes, please.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay.
Yes, Fred. Fred,
you can speak.
I know. Just speak, Fred, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I think I would like to talk about the youth participation in the internet. That is one the question that was asked about youth in the rural areas. I would like to give one quick submission, then we end from there. So I think for a major topic that is being taken by the IGF discussion this year is the universal access and meaningful connectivity. And it is because the internet in itself, accessing it is not enough, or having access to internet as at now is not enough, but you need to have meaningful connectivity. Meaningful connectivity here is we have to get affordable internet. So the youth in the rural areas are a major problem right now, because we are looking at how we are going to get them connected to the internet, that is connecting the unconnected. And so various organizations are taking this up, which the Internet Society plays a major role in trying to roll out building wireless community networks, and then building community-owned networks within the communities. Whilst we do this, we are also trying to train the individuals within there so that they get the skills to be able to partake in building the network that has been created within their communities. So if the network is down, they will be able to bring it up again. And aside that, we have the other digital literacy programs that goes on too. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I'm so delighted to have been with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Mr. Osei, please. You're out of time.
Hello, everyone. I'm exceptionally delighted to have this enriching conversation with you all. To end here, we need to collaborate. As the youth, we are the future. We are the drivers of the economy. With the internet, we can have an improved economic efficiency. With the internet, we can achieve the Millennium Development Goals. With the internet, we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And we need not to work in silos. We need to collaborate. Life is better in company. Thank you all, and have a very wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'll go to Tiwari, please. Yes, parting shot. Yes. The only lady part of the panelists. Yes.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, like, I totally agree with what Fred has said. The future, youth, the future totally belongs to the youth, and they are the one who needs to sort of like, come ahead and sort of take it as their own responsibility to make it more diverse and make it a very diverse platform and democratic in every sense, because this is where the interventions can happen. This is where the dialogues can actually happen, and also like I mean there are a number of ways to contribute into creating a very diverse space. What we just talked about, putting our training their emails in their own native languages. So ISOC actually, Internet Society actually partakes in all of such dialogues and through their local chapters. So if anybody who's here and who's interested to sort of do join these conversations to know more about the policies that Internet Society engages with. And certainly, I mean, just to close this idea, I mean, any platform that's there on the internet, like the basic ethical code book for such regulations would be obviously to make it more non-discriminatory, decentralized, and universal for that matter. So obviously, and what Fred just said, I'll just conclude. Just give me a second. So what actually Fred said, like how COVID-19 made it a catalyst, and it really helped us gain a more technological environment around us, and it really helped economies. So we really, as youth, we need to contribute into that interesting and collaborative sort of kind of future of internet. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our panelists are loaded. James, please, let's 20 seconds. James, please, 20 seconds. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you, everyone. It was a very wonderful discussion. Thank you, all attendees, and wish you a very global internet day, and let's work together for a better future of our internet.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you, the panelists. Thanks to our chief guest, Prieto, who left us. Who left? She introduced so much, guys. Thanks so much to our esteemed guests for being able to join us this GID day. We'll continue discussing on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Remember to use the hashtags, and please, the panelists have shared their emails and social media platforms. Let's keep on the discussion, and let's build the internet to the future where we want it to be. Remember, the internet is here to stay, and we are also here to stay. So let's make maximum use of it. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely day, a lovely evening, and just take care and stay safe. Bye-bye, and cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.